Welcome to a tour of the Marymount 3D Printing Lab. What we see here are all sorts of cool, kind of nice looking aesthetic prints that we use to test out our printers so that we can start making devices in support of Enable, a global group of individuals using 3D printing and design to make a difference in the world. And one of the big things that Enable is known for doing is right around the corner where they have a variety of prosthetic devices. So we have little hands, we have some arms, we have some feet, all sorts of different prosthetics that we 3D print inside of Carruthers G110, the Physics Research Lab. I like to call this the dungeon, and like any dungeon, we of course have a dragon guarding our entryway. As we're walking in, we can see that we have a variety of different 3D printers here. The first printers we have are our Prusa Mark IIIs. These are kind of the workhorses of our 3D printing lab. They're quite reliable. And we print almost everything on these two printers right here. We do have a nice upgrade that's come in recently called the Mosaic Manufacturing Palette 2. Normally a 3D printer, like the ones we have, can only print in one color. This little device lets us print in 4 different colors. So we can do designs that are multicolored, like this. Now the printing lab is usually quite active, so even though it's spring break, we're still working. We are printing a prototype, and this is actually the second version of a design to make a prosthetic hand attachment that will make a prosthetic mechanical. So it will work off of a switch or off of somebody flexing their muscles. And it will do this for a very, very low cost of around $50, whereas most of these kinds of options are going to cost you in the thousands. So that's our second version. We are rapidly prototyping over spring break. Some of the kinds of designs that we make, we have full-on arms, kind of look very nice and cosmetic looking, and this one's actually quite functional. It's called the Kwawu 2 arm, designed by Enable volunteer Jack Buchanan. We have the standard kind of Enable design that people are used to seeing, which we can theme after any kind of superhero that you might want. We have a couple of arms waiting to be built in our nice little prototyping bench area. We have the Rochester Renable design, the gripper hand, which mimics a hook design. And this is actually what we're interfacing with that prototype that we just showed you, where we'll attach motors right onto the back of this, onto this bolt. And then we have something unique to our lab. We have cosmetic hand designs. So we can actually 3D scan limbs in, and we can hollow them out, so you can put your residual limb right inside of there to get a cosmetic prosthetic hand. We don't just do plastics, we can also do a little bit of silicone, and we can see that up here in what I call the creepiest hand in the lab. So that is entirely made with silicone molding out of a 3D printed mold. Other kinds of projects, we don't just do hands and arms, we do maintenance. So we're fixing a couple of printers over here in the corner. We also work with Go Baby Go. We can see a car right here that's been torn apart. And what we're doing with this car is we're trying to convert it so that instead of running off of the steering wheel button, we can actually run it off of a Bluetooth cell phone signal. So a parent can control the car of their child. We work hard in here, so of course we need snacks. We have a nice little snack honor system where you pay what you can to get some snacks. And then over here, you'd be tempted to think we're going to microwave and cook our meals. Actually, these two devices, we use these for recycling plastic. We've started to move into trying to figure out what kinds of projects can we do with some of the plastic waste that we get. So we shred up our plastic, and we can then bake this hopefully into plastic sheets that we can use for a variety of different purposes. We've got about 5 years worth of waste just waiting for us to find new projects to do with it. Over here on the back corner of the lab, we have our ulzbot TAS6 3D printers. These are our big printers that we use for big projects or for really, really strong projects. So one of the most exciting ones right now is the RC car that's being built by one of the students in the lab. So we've already got steering kind of programmed in. He's gonna get this all working off of a radio control. So we're going to take some of the principles that we use in learning how this guy works, this radio control RC car, and we're going to apply it to this project over here in the other corner of the room, this wheelchair. So what we're doing is we 3D printed some attachment pieces so we can attach some motors to the sides of this chair And then we're using a simple little Arduino, and we're hooking it up to a joystick so that we can actually control this wheelchair with a joystick. We can make it electronic. We can make it mechanical for a fraction of the cost that you would otherwise have to pay. And one of the other nice things about this project is all these pieces, we are just bolting these on to a standard wheelchair. So if you had to rent a wheelchair, you could take this stuff that we're developing and you could just attach it onto the chair. This is largely based on the work of an Israeli first robotics high school team. So we're building on what they've done. And then some of the other projects going on in the lab, we have our TRS students are trying to come up with ideas for how to make 3D printing objects that will help people. So this right here is a 3D printed water filter somebody found on the web, and this actually screws into a water bottle, and we can put some filter materials inside of these different tubes, and we can actually filter water. And we've got this little device which actually makes it easier for somebody that maybe doesn't have good finger strength or has trouble grasping a bottle. Sometimes you can more easily grasp a handle so they can get a grip on this and actually use this handle. Okay, so those are some of the things that we're using the 3D printing lab for. We also have a nice little testing area kind of at the back of the room where they can try on prosthetic devices. You can practice with them, see if they work with fidget spinners, see if they can work with a touch screen, see if they can play pinball with them, see if they can actually do some dexterity exercises with some baby toys, or maybe see if you want to get some inspiration by looking at some comic books to get a good design, or maybe play some board games or play with some other kind of kids' toys. Variety of different things we do in the 3D printing lab. If you're interested, just give us a call, reach out through the contact information that you'll see down below.